This episode of Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by Strings Attached Foot Massage and Speed Dating Service. Are you the foot fucking master? Looking to share your unique set of rub-down skills with a special someone? Strings Attached wants to immerse you in their wonderland of incense, essential oils, and the largest collection of black velvet paintings in Northern California, while you get to know other single people the old-fashioned way, through hot, intimate foot rubbing. Of course, tickling is strictly prohibited. Strings Attached understands that a foot massage does mean something. So they have an in-house chapel for the special connections made by those lucky singles who meet their soulmate while pattering each other's paws. Listen, we all know that the way to a woman or a man's heart is through their feet. Let Strings Attached match you up with that certain someone who knows what a foot massage really means. Remember, all foot massages come with strings attached.
I don't even be tickling or nothing.
I really feel like this should be some kind of service. I mean, this is like this might need to exist.
I think it's got to be like no face, like a Netflix special where you like have to put your feet through the thing and you just like massage their feet and talk to them the whole time, but you don't know what they look like. All you see is the toes.
I felt a real connection to that person.
Oh my gosh.
Did you just describe a foot massage glory hole?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I can grab your favorite podcast. Let's start this thing. Woo!
Hey, folks, we are back, and we have, oh my gosh, we've got some good stuff in store for you today. I'm so excited. We chose Pulp Fiction this week. Motherfucking Pulp Fiction. Guys, are you excited about this one?
Yes.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
All right. See, we're going to have to, that's coming up soon
Brad
because.
chose this.
Eesh.
And then he got shot by Jules.
Is this like the right time period to have been rented for sure at Bev's Video Kingdom, right?
Oh,
like this is one that you guys went and picked up.
This is one I think we actually got a screener copy of. Like we had the one before it actually came out on the shelves.
This is the
Dude.
When we were passing that around, it was like, oh,
you must have been drowning in pussy.
Oh, hey, we got that Pulp Fiction. Yeah,
we got that pre-release Pulp Fiction.
You're
girls.
not going to see it for 3 weeks, ladies. Tarantino.
Oh my God.
Who the fuck is Tarantino? Like, who?
Yeah, we don't wait for Tuesdays. We get it on any day of the week.
I do want to address, Nate. You said the and this is something that has gone with me my entire life since Pulp Fiction came out. It's Brett. It is actually the character's name is Brett, but yet when he says it,
he says Brad.
It sounds like Brad. The way he draws it out.
He says
Look
Brad.
at the big brain on Brett.
I think he says Brad, and he's just showing the guy he doesn't give a fuck what his name is, even though he asked him.
So I'm going to tell you this right now. I had no idea until this moment that it was Brett. And
so many of you motherfuckers have said that to me.
Brad, how many times have I said, look at the big brain on Brad to you?
Oh, yeah. We're talking
1,000? 10,000?
Yes, for sure. I mean, many people in my life, being my name is Brad, have said that. And usually I don't correct them because actually, it's Brett. I mean, why would you do that?
Actually, I've seen that movie several times. I had it 3 weeks before it came out.
But yeah, so that's always been a big qualm of mine with this movie. But other than that, oh my Lord, it's a spectacular movie, and we're going to talk about it today. First off, let's just say a few things. This is one of the 9 directed films. Of course, you could say that 10 if you count Kill Bill as Volume 1, Volume 2. But the 9 directed films Quentin Tarantino has directed, this was number 2. Tarantino, of course, got his start at a video store, Bev's Video Kingdom. And of course, we had heard, I think, that Tarantino was thinking about coming out with a podcast.
Did you just say that he worked at Bev's Video Kingdom?
It sounded like that, and I was so excited.
That he started at Bev's Video Kingdom.
That was the guy I always was renting from, and he was criticizing my rom-com choices. That's fucking...
No.
What's funny is that it makes so much more sense. Like, people were like, oh, that's why they call it Bev's Video Kingdom, because that's where Tarantino used to work. No,
that's why it's important.
If I said it came out that way, what I meant was that, Bev's Video Kingdom was our local video store. He worked at a local video store down in L.A., and that's where he got his start. But this movie is one of the top 100 lists of all-time greats. I mean, most lists that you see that include the top 100 movies, it's in there usually in the top 50, top 25. So it's a classic. Gave Tarantino his first mainstream success, and then of course he started to continue to build that group of actors that he would bring with him in numerous other films. A lot of people that went from Reservoir Dogs went into Pulp Fiction, which went into Jackie Brown and so forth. This movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. And then I want to talk about the Oscars real quick, just before we get to your guys' thoughts on it. But the Oscars, it was nominated for 7 Oscars. It was nominated for Best Picture. Forrest Gump won. It was nominated for Best Director. Zemeckis won for Forrest Gump. It was nominated for Best Actor. Travolta. And then Tom Hanks won. Best Supporting Actor. Sam Jackson. Martin Landau won for Ed Wood.
Did you just call him Sam Jackson?
Yeah, we're pretty
If
close.
He's not Samuel L., I don't even know what we're talking about.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Sam Jackson was in The Hobbit, right?
Best Supporting Actress. Uma Thurman. Instead, Diane Weist won for Bullets Over Broadway. Maybe it's Weist. I don't even know how you say it. Weist, is it?
No idea.
I loved her in Lost Boys.
I believe it's Weist.
And then Best Film Editing, Forrest Gump won. For Best Screenplay Written for the Screen, they got the win. And it was actually Tarantino with a guy named Roger Avery, who was a buddy of his. They had a little falling out, though, post this. And so a very acclaimed film for being the first major release from Tarantino. By far his most critically acclaimed when it came to awards. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it. What do you guys think, Zach?
So I'm just going to talk about what you just talked about. So he released this movie, but he filmed it himself or had like minor backing, showed it at Cannes, it won at Cannes, and then probably sold it to a major studio, right? And that's kind of how it came about. He didn't get money for this. I think they spent $8 million, right?
$8 million, yeah.
But it wasn't like his $8 million.
Right.
I mean,
well, it probably wasn't his $8 million.
But I'm just saying that's not a tiny budget.
I believe it was shopped around before Cannes.
Avery, I think helped get money for it.
I mean, eventually it was their first with the Miramax with Weinstein's,
right?
And they bought it. I don't think at Cannes. I think they actually owned it.
It was before.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, it seems like something that you would do, and then like based on its merit, ended up being a wide release because it was so fucking good, right? I mean, I guess not.
I didn't read anything
but I think
about
the talent is so expensive for
that's
this.
what it was. Is they talked about $8 million budget, but like $5 million or $6 million was to
Bruce
all
Willis.
the actors.
Reservoir Dogs was
huge at this time.
No.
Reservoir Dogs was the movie that
budget.
got the attention of Hollywood and all the producers and the people that wanted to back him.
Yeah.
What's funny is that they said that Bruce Willis was like had a bunch of flops lately, and this was like kind of his. They knew they could get him because he had some like not as much success, which I think is
jumping
impressive.
off a Hudson Hawk or something.
Some trash like that.
So, anyways, I really love it. This has all of my favorite things, like, you know, extreme violence mixed with awesome storytelling, and I really like, you know, jumping around the timeline. I love everything that it had going on. What do you think, Nikki?
I was talking to Zach before the pod, and I just have trouble in general remembering where I was when I saw just movies that I know that I love, and I don't remember necessarily my first moment seeing Pulp Fiction. After I saw it, it was one of those things where I knew I was late to the party. I wish I was, because I remember going to see Forrest Gump because I was 12. You know,
Yeah, we were a little
12,
young for this.
Too young to appreciate and be there and just geek out on a movie like this. I was too young for it. When I did come around to it, I think it might have been after high school, when I was actually starting to venture into just watching as much as I can, whatever, like everything.
You probably went to college, and every kid you knew had the poster of them holding the 45s, pointing them at the
right. I mean, it was that, it was Scarface, it was Blow, it was all those movies you had the posters
exactly.
for. And but it was one of those things when you realize, first of all, oh, this is how this movie is going to be constructed. And then that's kind of mind blowing, and the way it ends and the way it circles back around to Honey Bunny and the two bank robbers, and how at the very end the conversation you're like, oh shit, you're back in that same restaurant. Just the way it's constructed, it was so original, and it kind of blew your brains out. You know what I mean? It was kind of, and then you realize that everything that he's going to do from here on out is going to be original, and you're going to look forward to it. Almost all of his characters are extremely flawed, if not bad people. Always, you can't take your eyes off. You know what you're getting into. You kind of leave a Quentin Tarantino differently than you leave other movies. You're always talking about it after. You're generally going back to rewatch because the images, as kind of jarring as they might be, you kind of keep wanting to come back to more, whether it's the dialogue in between those scenes that are building the tension. We talked about Fincher building tension, and Tarantino builds discomfort rather than tension, and you kind of like love that discomfort because it's a ride that you just don't want to get off. So I love this movie. I love it. It was so much fun to watch it. It's been a while since I had watched it.
So I was a little older than you when it came out.
Yeah.
I was 15, I think, and I don't remember the moment I saw it, but I definitely would have seen it either in the theaters or right when we got our preview copy at the Video Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And I was saying earlier when we were talking to the guys, like for me, this reminds me of a few other things that like kind of where there was big shifts in this era. Like I remember when I first heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" from Nirvana, and I even at a slightly younger age when I heard that, I remember thinking like, everything has changed, right? Like this is music that's unlike anything that I'm used to listening to, and it's so good, and so everybody loves it so much that like this has to mean that music's changing. And when I watched Pulp Fiction, and we were talking earlier about the fact that Clerks came out the same year, when I watched Clerks and Pulp Fiction, those two movies from two were sort of breakthroughs for two filmmakers. I remember watching Pulp Fiction and thinking like, this is everything's different now. And I don't know, I can't. I mean, I'll get into I'll try to like pin this down a little more later, but there's something that's so uniquely Tarantino about this film that we obviously see in all the films afterwards, but that is like perfect. It's like an oxymoron on film, or totally counterintuitive. You are totally in on the dialogue, right? It's not like they invent good dialogue, but the good dialogue is like this key thing. And at the same time, the dialogue is almost like performative, and like he's directing it to be almost like halting in a way, like the even the speech pattern and the sort of like he's
the cadence of the Tarantino monologue.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the effect at all of a lot of movies where you're like suspending disbelief and getting into the story and forgetting you're watching a movie. You're totally aware that you are watching dialogue performed in a movie the entire time, and you can't fucking look away. Like you love it so much, you want so much more of it, and the dialogue is like not it's dialogue that's not like normal conversation, and normally that would take you out of it, and yet it pulls you into it.
But yet it's everyday things that we all think about and talk about, and that go through our mind every day.
But it's not given to you in a way that you talk to your friends about it. It's very different than that, and so like
it's almost as if all your friends were on cocaine. And they just talked and talked and talked at you.
We have plans to do that. Do we not? Is that not? Did you not bring the cocaine?
Next pod. Next pod.
So yeah. For me, Tarantino. This movie changed things, right? Even more than Reservoir Dogs, which has got him his start and has some of these qualities. But this is like, it's clear to me why this is the breakthrough. I loved it. When are we going to talk about our senior issue?
Yeah, so when this comes out, you've probably now seen it on the socials, is that Nate and I, we became pretty big Tarantino fans, and as much as high school kids can. And we were talking about our senior year. What are we going to do for our senior quotes? What are we going to do?
And we thought we were cool as fuck.
Thinking we were cool as hell for our little high school. My name comes first, and I say, hey, man, want some bacon?
Nah, man, I don't eat bacon.
We totally fucked up the line. That's our dumb high school brains. We couldn't even get the line right.
And it's in writing.
It is in writing.
Oh,
I blame the yearbook editor. But so yeah, if you go to our Facebook page, which is a good entry, but if you go to our Facebook page, we'll have posted the actual picture from our yearbook that shows our fucked up dual quote from Pulp Fiction. By the way, if you love us, and you do love us, let's be honest. If you love us, go check us out. We have a cool Facebook page. We post some fun questions and things about the pods coming up. We try to replicate those on Twitter and Instagram. So follow us, like us, do all those things. Also, we don't get a lot of email. So if you want to send us email at Bev's Video, no, there's no apostrophe in email addresses, by the way. So don't fucking put
it's
apostrophe
not
in that
it's
shit.
Bev's Video Kingdom
At Gmail. But don't put up an apostrophe in Bev's because you will be wrong.
So my son has his own email address, and he's like, it's Hunter at Gmail. And I was like, what? He's like, it's Hunter at gmail.com.
Jamel.
And I was like, Gmail? He's like, yeah, Jamel. I was like, all right. I asked him about Google. He's like, he uses a computer every day. He's like, I don't know what that is.
Jugal.
But yeah, on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, BVK Podcast. I think on Facebook you look up Bev's Video Kingdom, but on Twitter and Instagram, BVK Podcast.
And then just email us some shit. I mean, I don't even care what you email us. Like insults, pictures of your dog. I actually don't want to see your dog.
Dumb senior quotes.
Dumb senior quotes.
Unsolicited dick pics is what we're looking for, guys. That's what we're fishing for.
We're
right now.
dancing around it, but let's just get
These are
right
officially solicited dick pics. We're soliciting you to send us pictures of your wiener.
Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by Jack Rabbit Slim's $5 milkshakes. Have you ever had a $5 milkshake? No, not some $2.99 chunky-ass mixture of fake ice cream and sour milk. No, Daddy-O. I'm not talking about some $3.67 bucket of white cow piss and shit-tasting mocklet. Oh, what? You once had a $4.83 shake from Peppermint Patties and you think it was pretty good? Get the fuck out of here. Seriously. Out now. No, I'm talking about a real, authentic $5 Jack Rabbit Slims masterpiece of cream, sweeter than your mama's hind milk and flavor so rich, I'll make you show the whole restaurant your O-face before you finish. It's so good you'll feel like you were swallowing 100 Christmas mornings at the same time. It's so good you'll think it cost upwards of $5.61. Jack Rabbit Slim's $5 milkshakes, because you deserve better than $4.99.
Bro, did you say your...
Enter code BVK Pod and get your shake for $3.89.
Did you say your mother's hind?
Hind
milk. It's hind milk, bro. Don't you? Do you even breastfeed?
Do you even hind?
Do you even hind milk?
Oh my god!
All right, so on this pod, we start to drink with the director, and this director, this is one of those ones I'm not exactly sure I would like to sit down and talk to this man, because I'm not sure I would really like talking to him, because he seems a little bit of an asshole. But Quentin Tarantino walks in the door. We're sitting down. We pour him whatever the hell he wants to drink.
Hey, Quentin, you want a really thick beer?
An aqua velva. That's an aqua velva.
Gentlemen, what do we got in our glasses tonight?
Oh God, how do we describe this? Oh, I'll start since mine's quick.
Oh, I
and
thought you were talking
simple.
about your own. I was like, damn, what's going on with yours? It can't be worse than theirs.
No, mine's not worse, but so Zach's wife was going to, this is representative. Zach's wife was going to bring drinks, and she texted my wife and I and said, like, what do you guys want us to bring you for drinks? Because the chicks are hanging out here, not laughing at us or paying any attention. And so I didn't respond quickly enough, so she texted Zach and goes, find out what Nate wants. It'll probably have something, it'll probably involve grenadine or Diet Pepsi. And she's not wrong.
And now he's drinking bourbon.
I have a bourbon Roy Rogers.
Bourbon, Diet Coke.
Should I
There's got to be a name for this.
Should I come up with a name for that?
Yeah, it's called Diabetes 2.
This is called
Part 2.
I'm gonna name
Part
this.
2.
I'm naming this the Tarantino. Okay, so that's me. But what do you two milk mustache motherfuckers?
Well, Nick and I are going to chink glasses. We were drinking we talked about it, but it's the thickest beer that anyone's ever seen.
It's rather chewy.
You can't see through it. It's got chunks, and
It doesn't have chunks.
it's very delicious.
It does look like orange juice, but it's called
It looks like
Hazy Baby.
To be clear, it looks like an orange Julius.
Looks like an orange,
It's actually really good.
melted down orange Julius. It's from Blaker Brewing in Ceres, California. It's called Hazy Baby.
Don't spill it in your beer, or you'll never get that shit out.
I'd say it looks like more like a milkshake IPA, but there's hazies that are that hazy.
It looks like if Rocky broke the 5 yolks in his cup before the morning run, and he chugged it.
Somebody poured a $5 milkshake in my beer. What the fuck is going on?
It looks like if Stifler went 3 more rounds with that chicken American pie and just used the same beer cup.
Blaker, we love your beer. It's a tasty beer.
It's really
Trust us.
like
We
it's
really do
good.
like your beer.
It is.
It does look like
delicious.
pureed pineapple.
I'm on my 3rd glass.
Chew your beer, boys.
And I'm actually I'm on the less stressed, more west, which is Last Call Brewing. It was being drunk last week. I had some extra cans, so I brought those with me. So Last Call Brewing, thank you for providing me with some good beer.
Brad says, Zach, can you get me a beer out of my ice chest? And I said, sure. He said, give me the colorful one. And they both are literally a rainbow of colors. And I was like, okay, I'm really not sure what to do.
Yeah, I think I might have screwed that up. But that's all right. So Tarantino's got his drink. He sits down, and you know what? We have to get it out of the way because it's the question that he's been asked probably the most whenever he's talked about Pulp Fiction. The briefcase. I wanted to get your gentlemen, your thoughts while Tarantino listens to what our little musings on. What's in the case?
Say, what's in the box?
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Are we saying it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head? Is that what we're saying? And Vince Vega was like, holy shit.
I think
Is it Mia Wallace's head?
Might be Mia Wallace's.
I mean, if we talk about it, the one thing that's when Tim Roth reacts and he's like, is that what I think it is? That's the part that just like really makes you think, okay, it's not gold. It's not like
diamonds. Because they talk about it being diamonds from the cross universe of Reservoir Dogs.
Right.
Talk
it's
about that being
diamonds.
diamonds. Right.
All right, I have a theory here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Never mind. No, what I was going to say, I wanted to.
So anticlimactic.
So what's the? I'm not a religious guy. What's the cup from Indiana Jones' Last Crusade?
The Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, shit. It's the Holy Grail.
It won't fit in.
It's a golden chalice.
Oh, that makes sense why the British guy was like, is that what I think it is? He's like, I've seen this before.
And remember, right, like fucking Jules is all about having a moment with God.
Then
boom, solved it like I'm a Zodiac group of fucking investigators.
So Marcellus is afraid of dying. He wants this thing. He got it in his hands, and somehow these guys got it back from him, so they had to go blast him.
Alternate
Holy Grail.
I mean, the soul thing was cool, but it sounds like that's all like internet talk.
Yeah,
they're saying it's someone's soul.
They say it's Marcellus Wallace.
Sold his soul. That's why he has a Band-Aid on his neck because internet people said that's where the soul left his body.
Oh, no, that's because he has that. That's because he has that weird like bumpy neck rash thing, bro.
He struggles shaving.
Yeah. That's what happens to guys who shave their heads.
He's not a Mach 5 guy. He's a Mach 2 guy.
That's
what he gets. That's what you get, Ving.
I fucking fan theory Reddit.
Note to self: use Mach 5 rather than the Mach 2.
We're saying he didn't have enough blades on his razor, and that's why his neck looked like that.
R.I.P. Norm. R.I.P. Norm.
All right, what else are we asking? So we had our conversation. Tarantino's laughing at us or something.
Did Nick just body bag fucking?
Yeah, note to self.
Mach
That's
2s.
Norm, bud.
Body bag Mach 2 razors.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody's got an opinion on razors, it's Nick Brown.
Nick Brown.
He's a tester. He's an
I'm
official
about that
tester.
6-blade life, son. Mach 6, bitch.
The blade researchers, they show up at his house like, hey, try this one, Nick. What do you think?
Some people have a quiver of arrows. Nick walks around with a quiver of Mach 5 razors. He just fucking pulls it out and just sounds like somebody's
in between each class. Nick shaves completely. By the end of the class, they're all, we can't hear you over your jacket rubbing against your neck.
It's like Tim Allen and the Santa Claus.
All right, somebody take a shot at Tarantino. Who's got something for Tarantino? Let's get this.
I got some shit. Okay, so do I ask that? So he's so loved, and this movie is so loved for the out of sequence. And I want to know, like, this is a movie where I'm not sure what that device accomplishes. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that, like, in this movie, the out of sequence is sort of arbitrary. Or for me, it was. Again, like, I genuinely don't mean this as a criticism. I found myself going, like, I think about a movie like Memento, right? And, like, it's a device that, works in a certain way. And there's a lot of movies that you can think of that are slightly out of sequence where, like, they're revealing information in an important way. But for me, this kind of goes part and parcel with another question I have, which is like, what is this movie even really about? Like, what are we trying to, other than sort of understanding the dialogue and seeing some cool shit, is there really a theme or a message? And if so, then how does the out of sequence device supposed to work for that?
I don't even think I love that question, but not even with the device of the time of the film, but more just like, what is this film trying to say? You know what I mean?
And I genuinely couldn't come up with an answer. I don't think it needs to say something. I'll preface this all with saying I don't think it has to say something.
Right.
I think it could be just completely interesting, right? I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of when you first saw it, and did you think that then? You know what I mean? When you felt like everything was changed, you know what I mean? Were you thinking that after watching it now we've seen all these different, which he created,
30
right?
years
The
later,
disjointed narratives and all that he penned himself, and now you look back at it and like, did it need it? Did it not need it? I mean, maybe you can have that argument, but at the same time, that was arguably like the birth of that form of filmmaking. So is in the first of it.
Well, you got to go to the title, Pulp Fiction. I mean,
Right.
referring to pulp stories, pulp comics of the day when they were a little racy, they were action based, they were like little small kind of vignettes of
Shorts, like shorts.
Yeah, they were basically like, and so I think that's what he's going for. And obviously, it's a combination of those, but they happen to intertwine. So it's almost like 4 little separate stories, but he just decided to connect them all in kind of a creative way. So
yeah.
But I mean, even so just to push this one step further, though, like pick any of the stories. What's the fucking point?
That's the thing. I think pulp. The pulp comics, there wasn't a point. It was just like
It's
something
pulp.
that's going to be action. It's going to be there's going to be some cuss words and some things that are a little bit racy.
So this reminds me a little bit of like, because like that, you know, isn't exactly new, and yet it feels so new here. Like it reminded me somehow of the Chappelle Show, right? Like for some reason, you know, Chappelle Show was so revolutionary in an area that had been so overtread, right? Like there's
Sketch comedy
Sketch
in
comedy
general,
had been
yeah.
done, and yet somehow Chappelle is this like revolution, and maybe part of it is like it's a little bit of what I talked about earlier, which is, you know, with the way that the dialogue feels very much like you're not getting lost in it, you're watching a performative, you know, thing. It's like it's putting you through an experience that isn't about you finding meaning in it. It's like you sort of it's you going through and being like, wow, you know, like this is fucking cool. And I'm not somebody to like have that. I mean, this is part of it, right? It's like I'm a story guy. Like I love the story, I like the plot. I was just saying something the other day, like I can't hardly forgive a fucking bad plot and a bad story. But this is like something that you get lost in it, right? And for me, I think it's that element of it.
I got some shit for my snag, so I don't know if I want to like tread on it, but
We'll
it
get there.
totally talks about that a little bit more. Maybe give some insight into why he did, because it's actually like not that we get too much into like film school talk on there, but and I don't. But for this, I thought it was actually relevant because it was like the first of its time in the birth of like a way of doing movies, and so I got something in regards specifically to that and that, like the disjointed.
We're such cinephiles. I love it. We're so fucking
Had
so
to. We got to geek out.
Hold your load.
Quentin would want us to.
I was just talking about coming in my drink.
Nick, I was just about to tell Nick to hold his load, try to do some multiplication and wait for the snag.
Too late.
all right, what else were we asking the big QT?
So I got some whiffs of and read up on a potential Reservoir Dogs Pulp's prequel out there. I want to know what the fuck is happening on that action, Quentin, and make that shit happen. It was supposed to be, and this was Quentin even acknowledging it in an article that I read, that it got as far as that it's set in Amsterdam during Vincent's travels in Amsterdam, and Vic, his brother, meets up with him in Amsterdam, and it's kind of about them just getting into shit together, getting into trouble over there in Amsterdam, and that's the premise. He couldn't come up with anything more, and he admits he couldn't get much more, and I just would want to sit down, and I think between the four of us, I think we could come up with a screenplay in
I think
about
they've
8 hours.
aged out though. That's the problem, is they've aged out. I don't think Tarantino would
you're
ever
right.
want
Adam
anybody outside
Driver
of-
as Vincent Vega.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'm all in.
on
That's it.
Yep.
That's not
Let's
terrible. Jesus, that's not
Let's just go
terrible.
and write
Wow.
that after the pod tonight.
Speaking of, God,
That's a
Adam
good call.
Driver. Ooh.
So who's Vic?
Ooh.
Who's Madsen as a young boy?
Chris Pratt.
Miles Teller.
Oh God, that almost works. It's terrible.
He's got to be older. He's got to be older than Vincent, right? Maybe a little bit.
I mean, but what's interesting about this though is like, you know, what the fuck does he have to come up with? I mean, this is the point, right? Like the Tarantino
You're right,
revolution
you're
is
right.
just dialogue. I mean, like it's the dialogue and the sort of odd circumstances that you find yourself in that are kind of very everyday and mundane or very far fetched.
Yeah, but that shit takes some thought.
It does. Well, and this is this is one of the questions I want to ask him. Right? Is like, why is it so hard to write good dialogue? right? Like, and how do you do it? Like, how do you write dialogue? I mean, and this is one of the things that, like, I think to be a little existential about this. Like when we talked about doing this pod. One of the things that, and you all probably out there, like you have, you have some friends, right? Some guy friends, some girlfriends, a mixed crew of people that you hang with that are like, you just make each other laugh, right? And you say shit that you think is funny, right? And you don't really know if it's funny, right? When we talked about doing this pod, we're kind of like,
are other people going to think we're funny?
And I'm still not fucking sure, to be honest.
So far, we've only established that people want to masturbate to Nate's voice. And besides that, it could be just all drivel.
These assholes think they're cute.
But I'm saying, so like, how do you figure out that, hey, I'm going to write this dialogue and it's going to really hit, And I don't know what the answer to that question is. I really would love to, like, if I was going to ask him a real question, I'd say, what do you do? What's the process? How do you figure out what good dialogue is?
It almost goes back to what you were talking about earlier, Nate. Like, and I'll preface this with saying I love most Tarantino everything, but is it good? Like, is it realistic? Is it Tarantino
those are
movie
two questions,
dialogue?
though. It's not realistic,
you know what I mean? Like,
but it's good.
No one talks like that.
No, but it's great.
It's hyper realistic.
It's like Sorkin. Like, people talk shit about Sorkin because you're like, nobody talks like that. Like, people are too articulate and like quick witted and just like boom, boom, boom. But I mean, I guess maybe if you hang out with cooler people than we do.
I was gonna say, is it the fantasy of the dialogue you want to have?
I think so.
Dude, it's movies, dude. And he admits it. He was a movie store clerk, and he just loved fucking movies that entertained you. And there is no rules, there's no boundaries when that's the case. So you make the most entertaining movie possible. If that means including the dialogue that lasts for 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 15 minutes, it doesn't fucking matter if it's entertaining.
I mean, the guy makes intensely entertaining
Dude,
movies. It sucks me everything.
I had the question: is he the best? Is he one of the best or the best writers of dialogue that we know of? I mean, against Sorkin. I mean, I don't give a shit. I put him up against Sorkin. Like, think about every movie, how you are drawn into his dialogue between two characters. You're in that room. You're in that room in the opening scene of Inglourious. You're in.
So I'm gonna throw out a weird one as a third, just to consider. That's really off the wall. Not even a movie. But Amy Sherman Palladino, who wrote Gilmore Girls.
Oh my God, Nate.
Dude, that's the other one that I think of genuinely when I'm like,
did she write the script for Midsommar as well?
My mom has been listening to the pod, and she just in her car slammed on the brakes and was like, "They're talking about my show."
Wendy, I'm here. Wendy, I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
My sister and my mom are so excited right now with the Gilmore Girls reference.
No, but I mean, if we're going to talk dialogue, like I throw that in the conversation.
It's a great example of unrealistic dialogue that's entertaining.
Exactly,
and good to
right?
watch. Yes.
Yeah, no one, and it's sort of like almost like a mix of the Sorkin and the
everybody's too smart for their own good.
They're too smart and too witty, but it's also like has a particular pattern and like cadence to it where you're like, I know I'm not watching real dialogue and I can't get lost in this, but I can't look away.
It's always raw as fuck, too. It's always like, aggressively.
Yeah, Gilmore Girls is raw as fuck.
Aggressively.
You should hear that shit Lorelai says.
Wait, I thought we were talking about Tarantino.
Which is crazy.
I couldn't have imagined that we were still talking about. I didn't know it was the Pulp Fiction slash Gilmore Girls.
We're now in season 4 of Gilmore
When
Girls.
Lorelai and the Gimp have that fucking long conversation.
There's some people standing up and cheering right now. They're like, are they really doing it? Are they going to do it?
This is that disjointed
Best
narrative we were talking
ever.
about.
We just went completely out of order.
Third part of this.
All right. Well, I want to jump into the movie real quick because there's a scene that in my most recent rewatch.
Well, what's your favorite scene, Brad?
Well, no, this is even favorite scene. This is. I was confused as hell, and if Tarantino's sitting here, I'd be like, okay, dude, what the fuck is the wolf doing at 8 a.m. in the morning when he takes the phone call from Marcellus that he's going to have to go over to the house to deal with the situation? He's got a tuxedo on.
Wolf's been up all night.
He's sitting in a bedroom, and this is the first time I realized. At first, I thought it was like maybe they're going to church or it's like some type of event, but I was like, they're in like tuxedos. You don't wear tuxedos to a funeral. And then you hear in the back. This is the first time I ever realized. Heard in the background, place your bets. There's a casino. There's people you can see at a casino table in this either hotel room or bedroom. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Really?
I got an easy answer. He's the floor manager for like a fucking
basement
casino that Marcellus runs.
But then he bounces and is gone, and then he goes to
He's got help.
He goes to the Monster Joe's, and then he goes and hangs out for lunch with the girl.
I love that that Marcellus owns it and it's all connected.
Oh yeah, Marcellus.
So you think he's
Marcellus.
managing some type of underground casino?
Yes,
Yeah,
I like
he's
that.
like one of the guys there. Yeah.
All right, dude. I
When
never
you-
came to that shit.
Brad, when
I
you said-
appreciate
I just
that.
came up
when
with
you
that
said
right now.
that, I'm gonna call back to an earlier pod here. When you said that you were like, I was watching this and for the first time I noticed this, I was like, is he talking about feeding a horse? Is there hay? Is he gonna feed a fucking horse?
I know. I'm saying I don't know why I'm catching these details.
That was
on Major League.
Major League.
Brad said the same thing. I noticed it for the first time.
But that's the thing. These movies I've watched like 30, 40, 50 times, and it's like, how did I never catch that?
Brad's
Like,
deep in this shit.
I caught some new stuff this watch too. My son was looking over my shoulder while I was doing some research for the pod, and he says, "What movie is it?" And I says, "Pulp Fiction." So he gets on his phone, click, 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 click.
my son does the same shit.
He comes back and he goes, "Dad, they say FUCK 265 times in this movie."
Solid. Is that Jack or Hunter?
That was Hunter.
Oh, good boy.
He did
Shut the
some
fuck up! I'm
serious
watching this
research.
movie.
Oh, that's great. So I've got a couple of other things that I picked up here that I really loved as like some subtleties that I would want to know whether or not Quentin really meant it this way. Let's talk about the straw. Let's talk about the device of the straw. So in the scene in Jackrabbit Slims, right, she insists that he take a drink of the $5 milkshake, which is one of the sponsors of the pod.
No. He asks for a drink.
Oh, right. He's like, is it that good?
He's like, I got to try a $5
so then she, yeah, that's exactly right. And then she insists that he should drink out of the straw.
Yeah, he starts to move the straw.
And she's like, I don't have I don't have cooties. I can handle cooties.
Oh, I missed that.
So then she drinks, and so there's all this sexual tension in the scene,
100%.
right? And like, I was like, whoa! Like I'm seeing that her insisting and then him accepting the straw, right? She's already had her saliva on it. He drinks out of the straw and like has her saliva, and it's like this whole little thing where it's like you swap spit through this straw is like this like really like intense. Kind of, for me, it was kind of like this intense like
Intimate.
almost like intimate, flirtatious, like sexual thing with a straw, with just the act of like. But okay, now let's take a different scene. Jules, right?
Before you get there, let's just say, what the
That
fuck
was-
is she thinking? Vincent just got back from 4 years in Amsterdam, and she's like, "Sure, you don't got cooties."
And the straw was before they shared heroin, correct? They shared heroin after.
Well, it's
That's
not like
correct.
she asked to share.
No.
I have questions about the heroin. So, but then so then the other scene is Jules goes in, right? And Jules and Vincent go in. He does the ultimate like disrespect. He's like, "Oh, we got a burger? Let me try your burger." And then he's like, "Oh, can I try your soda?" He picks up this fucking guy's soda, drinks out of the straw, looking him straight in the eye, just finishes his drink after him. Like, you want to drink, So it's like the act of being like, I'm going to put my mouth on your straw and you want to drink after me, go ahead, motherfucker. I'm not asking permission, really, right? Like he can't say no. So like I love there's these little things like that, and on the first one, right? Like there are these things that are both subtle actions of both like sexual tension that are not obvious and disrespect in this film that are cool, like the foot massages, right? This is the whole big conversation. It's this conversation. Is a foot massage really a sexual act, right? Well, like it makes the point slowly, right? Almost like a beautifully like Socratic way. Like you well, you want me to massage your foot?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out
Fuck
of here.
you.
Right? So like Tarantino uses this like these sort of like really kind of backdoor ways to get you to feel this like tension in ways that aren't obvious, which I love.
Mia
And
Wallace.
can we say that maybe Tarantino? Do you feel like you invented ASMR? Because really, Tarantino is
Do
the
you think
king of
did I invent
close-ups.
it?
No, did Tarantino? And
Yes,
you
I
owe
did.
him
Yeah.
royalties.
3 weeks ago, you invented it.
But no, because he's the king of the close up of eating something or drinking something, and he gets right up there in it, and the sound effects are always just very, very visceral. Yeah, like
visceral.
I mean, it's
Visceral. That's a good word.
I mean, like if you go to Inglourious Bastards with the apple strudel, like when they're putting the cream on it and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
like,
100%.
just very with food. He gets very and feet. He also loves feet. That's a long running thing. Tarantino and feet.
That's just basic foot fetish, though. I mean, that's not a
Good
movie device.
old-fashioned
That's
foot
just
fetish.
If
it's
Tarantino
just
was actually
classic.
here, he'd be going over to the wives and like checking out their feet right now.
Look at the feet on that one.
But I mean, you got to say, like, Mia Wallace is a woman that enjoys the power that she has over men, right? Like the whole
does.
time she is like subtly, like putting out the vibe.
Is she doing it intentionally just to like fuck with them and see how loyal they are, or is she doing it because she
likes the game, bro? She likes the game, and I think she.
You don't think she's going to let him close the deal?
I don't want to step on my alternate ending.
right.
So let's move on from that.
Do you have any like half-ass like internet shit out there that you want to talk about now? Any like
$8 million
behind the scenes
$8
stuff?
million to make. $200 million worldwide, $213 million
it went so
worldwide
big
box
time.
office.
I read Daniel Day-Lewis was considered for Vincent Vega.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
That
So,
would be
Maybe quite
crazy.
half-ass internet research, but
quarter
Daniel
ass.
Day-Lewis was considered for Vincent Vega, and Tarantino just forced himself because he like looked up to Travolta from Urban Cowboy and
So that's interesting because
Yeah,
what I
Saturday
read
Night
was
Fever.
I read that Michael Madsen, it was written for Michael Madsen.
I read that too.
And
Yeah.
then he couldn't do it because he did Wyatt Earp with
yeah, I
with
read
Costner.
that too. So the Daniel Day-Lewis might be bullshit.
What's fun about, for me, just as a quick note, the Travolta character here, I remember at the time, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was such a comeback for him. And like he becomes relevant all of a sudden again after like some bullshit.
yeah.
Look Who's Talking. And I remember even at the time, and I didn't.
What? Look Who's Talking, bro? With Bruce
Sorry.
fucking Willis? One of my favorite
Sorry, is
movies of
Bruce
all time.
Did he see the baby or something?
He's the voice. Yes.
Oh my god! Wow.
Dude, I didn't peg you for a Look Who's Talking guy, but
Can
hey.
you fucking check
We'll get
yourself
to
before you
Travolta in a
talk
little
shit
bit,
on Look
though.
Who's
All
Talking?
right,
Calling
all
it
right.
We'll get to
bullshit?
Travolta in a while.
Okay,
We'll give
You
him
can
all
continue with your point, but don't talk
I
shit
will.
about Look
I'll-
Who's Talking.
I'm getting reprimanded. I'm getting bad looks from.
I'm saying,
Big
yeah,
Brain.
we-
The
we'll
big
get to
brain on
Travolta.
Brett.
He definitely is going to get his due.
Look at the big brain on Brett. I'm going to call Brad.
Get to the
Brett for
chopper.
rest of the- we got a helicopter.
We got a
going
helicopter.
over.
I don't know if our listeners
Going
heard
over
the
the
chopper.
Bev's Video Kingdom
We just went
studios right
straight
now.
from Look Who's Talking, Pulp Fiction.
Our guest judge just sort of rolled into the compound. He's not going to be able to hit a
Scotty.
draft, but he just rolled in. Maybe they're looking for him.
I think they definitely
Probably.
are.
I mean,
He's in a
a drug
safe
dealer.
space.
He's a
He's in a
drug
safe-
dealer, right? Didn't we already confirm that?
They're like, we need a farmer that can drum. Stat.
My last question for Tarantino would be: after Pulp Fiction comes out, there was just a whole host of Pulp Fiction-esque movies, and I would like to ask Quinn, what's his least favorite Pulp Fiction ripoff movie? Because there was like 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, 2 Days in the Valley. There was just a bunch of stuff that came out.
I've seen none of those.
So I've seen-
Go.
I've seen
Go was
all of
definitely
these.
something like that, but I mean, I think Go stood on its
we
own.
have a pod on Go. Don't
Yeah, check out our
Don't
pod
you
on Go.
don't you think
It's a
that it's
classic.
like Tarantino's so good at Tarantino that even when you blatantly rip off Tarantino, it's still like
Oh,
kinda
most
good.
of those movies were all
Yeah.
shit that I just mentioned. So I just want to. I'd like to know if there's one particular that he really is just like, oh my god, that was
No. You're missing my point. I don't
think
think.
Zach said
I
the
think those
opposite.
movies are all pretty good. Like even like shit derivative Tarantino is like still pretty good.
I don't know if any of those were really good.
I think I don't think anyone saw them. So I'm
2
not
Days
sure
in the
anyone
Valley was
knows.
all right.
2 Days in the Valley, 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. I
But
mean,
we covered Go, so it was probably
Go
great.
was legit.
Great.
Yeah,
legit movie.
Sir
I'll
Paulie
defend
kills
legit.
it, bro.
So you haven't listened to our other pod yet.
All right. So are we done drinking with the director? I'm not done drinking.
I've got a lot more to talk to him
drinking
about.
with Quentin.
So I'm going to ask Quentin because recently he went on, another smaller podcast than us, but he was on Joe Rogan the other day, and he said that he's only doing 10 movies. Is this true, Brad? You are the Tarantino expert
I
in the
mean,
group.
as much as anybody who's in Hollywood says this is going to be my last movie or the last thing.
So
I
is that
do.
what he's saying for the next one? Is he building it up that much? And what is he doing?
Yeah,
Do we
I,
know?
mean, I don't know what it's going to be,
Oh,
but
shit.
it's his 10th. So I mean, that's the way it's going to go, and it would suck, but I feel like he would have to do something. He just seems like one of those erratic cokehead type guys.
Would it suck? I mean,
Yes, it would suck.
but I mean, there's a part of me that like really, you want that like guy to go out on top kind of thing. You want
So-
the body
Yeah,
of
but
work
maybe
to not-
he evolves and maybe his style changes and he turns into something like different.
Look, my
I'm too old-
uncle.
I'm too old to experience anything different, bro.
My
Just give me
uncle,
Pulp
my
Fiction
brother,
on
my
a
dad-
repeat.
My uncle, my brother, my dad, and my cousins, we get together and see every Tarantino film in the theater, like as close to opening day as possible. And we don't see each other all that often, but we do. It's when there's a Tarantino film, it's a guaranteed like little family reunion. So
I think I was in on the Django one, which maybe that's why I like it so much.
So this
There you
is
go.
so this is what's going on here is that most things are propped up by brevity a little bit. Like you were talking about Chappelle Show earlier. Like if he goes to the 6th season, maybe there's like some stinkers in there.
Yeah.
But he's got 2 seasons of like home run after home run after home run. But Tarantino never drops off. Like his shit coming out now is like still really good. Like I don't think that it's like, oh, we're having a decline in quality. Like why would you quit? Like your shit is still, you're still on top of it. Plus you literally have the freedom, and he probably has had it for a while, so maybe that's why he thinks he can quit. But the freedom to do anything you want.
But there will be a moment, right? Like where it might drop.
Well,
Like Eastwood.
He said on the podcast, he says that old directors suck. I mean, he's come out and said that specifically. He's like, old directors, they get worse. They get bad.
Yeah, we
They're
watched the
doing
last Eastwood movie where he writes the movie and writes himself into a threesome with a couple of 26-year-olds.
I'm sorry, that happens in Macho Chacho?
Not in the Macho one, but in the other one. You guys will know if you've seen it.
Not the mule.
The mule, I believe.
Oh, okay. The new one is the
I missed
Macho
that scene
whatever.
in the Mule. There was a threesome scene in the Mule?
I missed the. Yeah. Okay.
He's like he goes to the drug dealer's place, and the drug dealer gives him a couple of girls.
Zach watched it on X videos.
Did I watch the Pornhub version? That guy really looked like Eastwood.
No,
That's called hung like a mule.
hung
like a mule. Yeah, that's what it was.
yeah, totally different film.
That didn't win any Academy Awards.
I think I watched The Mule's Cock. It's a different movie.
Mule cock. 2 words.
All right, should we let Tarantino leave?
I don't think he wants to go
He doesn't
yet.
want to go. He
He just got out the
partying.
cocaine. There's a mirror on the table.
I'm ready to punch him.
We're about to write a movie.
Get him the fuck out of here.
I love how it's like one of Brad's like favorite directors, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I'd fucking hate this guy.
He's kicking him out.
I'm gonna have him on the show, and I think I'd fucking hate him.
We were coming back from fishing day, and he's like, almost like having like this fucking crisis of conscience. He's like, God, I don't think I would like Twin Tarantino. I might fucking want to beat him up.
Don't meet your heroes, Brad. That's what they say.
Oh, dude, I wish to God that I didn't know the things I know about Winnie Cooper.
What about Winnie Cooper?
She's like the actress. There's some not great stuff.
Oh,
She's
but
kind
Winnie
of-
Cooper.
Yeah, but that's my point, man. I don't want to know about the actress.
But you sound like you already know it.
I know, but I'm not going to tell you. I don't
Bro,
wanna ruin
believe
it.
me,
don't
I
ruin
I don't wanna ruin
understand.
everyone's fantasies.
Dude, Katie Holmes married Tom Cruise, bro.
fair
What the
point.
fuck is happening?
I will say that some friends in high school, just going back to my Tarantino fandom, in high school we did a movie in Spanish class. It was called Los Muchachos con Pistolas. And it was very ultra violent. It was zombies. It was kind of from Dusk Till Dawn-ish, but we, of course, did the classic opening up the trunk. We threw one of our friends in the trunk with the camera and open up the trunk to get our guns out. And our Spanish teacher was so pissed off. She's like, I didn't want anything that was going to be violent, but then she gave us like 20 bonus points because we actually did a decent job of like cinematography and put it together.
Senora Costa was a reasonable woman.
Oh
in
my
the end.
God, Mrs.
We got the
I haven't
bonus
thought
points
about her in a
there.
long
Costa.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we go on a tangent about our high school Spanish teacher?
But that was our Tarantino homage, Los Muchachos con Pistolas, and it was pretty
I
solid.
like the way you say "conquistada."
So you know what's really funny is that we also made a movie in Spanish class, and it was called you like went full Spanish for the title. Ours was called Any Given Domingo.
Any given Domingo,
And it was
Didn't
also
even fucking
so
bother to
good.
translate
It
the
was
rest
just
of
a
the
bunch of
title.
really long like monologues in Spanish about like pop culture and stuff like that. You know, nothing, no big deal.
Who did
Nothing-
Pacino in Spanish? That's what I want.
no big deal.
Still the best inspiring pump up speech.
I wish I knew how to say inch in Spanish. I'd do a great fucking.
Oh, okay.
Man.
I don't know, it seems like it might be commercial 30. Huh?
No, we don't need to do commercials, but I'll tell you guys what we need to do is that when
We
I
are
listen,
doing commercials.
When I listen back to the pod, no, we're gonna do
We
commercials.
don't do
but
commercials here.
What's so funny is that when I listen back to the pod, we go like this. A lot. And it's just such good radio. We all do it at the same time, and it's just like, all right,
tired. You guys are out there.
It's when we know that we're supposed to move on to the next category.
Yeah,
like,
it's exactly it. It's
our
like,
internal
is somebody
clock.
going to keep talking?
Time. Who's doing it?
Why are we tired? It's 10 a.m.
All right, stay tuned. Listen to these messages, and we will be right back. Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by Monster Joe's Used Auto Parts and Scrapyard. Got an old 72 Gremlin that's seen better days sitting in your yard? Is that old Edsel you swore you'd fix up never going to drive again? Accidentally killed someone with your vehicle recently and really don't want the cops to know about it? And stop by Monster Joe's Used Auto Parts and Scrapyard, where you'll find an abundance of body parts, auto parts available for all types of cars. Just walk through the aisles of our cemetery. Graveyard. Well, not a graveyard in the traditional sense. Forget I said that. Anyway, as you peruse, enjoy our year-round Halloween decor, but be careful As you search for that working door for your 72 Camaro, just be careful the lifelike skeleton or rotten corpse don't jump out the vehicle and scare you. Ooh, spooky. Don't forget, trade-ins are always welcome as long as they fit easily in the trunks of whatever vehicles we're crushing that day. Monster Joe's Used Auto Parts and Scrapyard. Bodywork is our business.
That's so good.
We were all sitting here just pissing our pants the whole time trying to.
John L. Sullivan, that twang is
Come on
nice.
down, John L. Sullivan.
I'm Cal Worthington.
And his dog Spot. All right, folks, it's time for Shag, Snag, Body Bag. You know the drill, hopefully, by this time. I mean, we're going to talk about things we love, things we kind of, would want to take home to mom, and then things that get the fuck out of here. So, what's going on for Shag? Tell me all about it.
I would like to shag a motherfucker.
As
Actually, a lot
adjective?
of motherfuckers. I could literally just sit and listen to Samuel L. Jackson say different versions of motherfucker all the time, all day.
265 times.
I love it. So I'm shagging Samuel L. Jackson's motherfucker.
I dig that. And so I'm kind of piggyback there because I'm shagging for guys our age, the quotable movies of our youth. I mean, quotes that are going to stick with us forever. Pulp Fiction, as we mentioned, ended up being our senior quotes, even though we fucked it up. But at the same time, just these movies that came out in just in a very important time in your life, high school, moving into college, and you remember those lines forever. And Pulp Fiction has so many of them that are still said today that we still quote. And I just love movies that have those quotes that will stick in your brain for the rest of your life.
Can I just say that Brad's initials are BMF?
Yeah. Hey,
And you know what? I've
all
never
the time.
actually got the wallet, and I probably should. I could officially do it and have my BMF wallet. Not done it. But
Did we mention that was in the pod that was actually Quentin's wallet?
No.
Did you guys?
Oh, shit.
So that was
Okay.
actually his wallet that he owned. That was in the movie. That was his wallet. Yeah. That
Well,
he inserted
if
into the
anybody,
film.
if any of y'all would like to send me that wallet, I would use it. Right now, my actual wallet has, and my wife got this for me because she's an awesome person. It has a actual game worn jersey from one of the Giants players.
Inside your wallet, bro?
It's in the wallet. Yeah, that's
is
like
the
the
wallet.
lining is made of a
It
Giants
is the
jersey.
wallet.
It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Say what again? I probably say that once a week. Say what again?
But like I said, I've heard look at the big name on Brad and correctly
my
said
little
a
girl's
billion
just
times.
looking at me like, what the say what again? Just literally can't talk.
double dare you.
Oh, all right.
All right. I'm shagging the Tarantino verse, the Tarantino universe. Marvel can give a big thanks to Quentin Tarantino for crossing universes to create a franchise of worlds crisscrossing over each other. A couple examples. You got Crazy Craig Coons mentioned in Django. I think it's in a Wanted poster. People talk about Captain Coons, Christopher Walken's character in Pulp Fiction, the crossover there, as far as them being, it was Coons' father or grandfather, great grandpa. You got Pete Hickok. So Tim Roth in The Hateful Eight being Archie Hickok, so Fassbender's character in Inglourious Bastards. That would have been Archie Hickok's grandfather or great-grandfather. You got the connection between, so in Kill Bill Volume 2, Beatrix Kiddo is buried in the grave of Paula Schultz. Some people believe is the late wife of Dr. King Schultz, Christoph Waltz's character in Django. Needless to say, there's all of these different crossovers in Tarantino's movies, which just is a whole other thing that Tarantino opens up to his watchers, that opens your minds to. You recognize different things. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there's a thing where it mentions Antonio Margaretti from Inglourious Bastards, just the character that the assassins or the other people, not the assassins, but the other soldiers make up, when they're at the premiere in Inglourious Bastards. So the way that he crisscrosses his characters across his movies in the universe, in the Tarantino verse, is so much fun. And just one other thing that I think, if you've watched 3 of his movies, you're hooked. And if you hear that there's these connections, you're going to watch the other, 7 as well.
It's tough for other people to do that because you have to be like so successful in order to do your own original stuff. Like,
Oh, I'm sure there's some directors that have been like, oh, I'm going to set this shit up. And then like,
Yeah.
next movie, we're going to do this. And they're like, no, you're not getting next movie, bro.
exactly. Like you have to have such a high batting average.
And they talk about Big Apple cigarettes are in multiple movies shown.
Pack of Big Apples.
Pack of Big Apples, Big Kahuna Burgers mentioned in Reservoir Dogs, From Dusk Till Dawn, Death Proof, Cliff Booth. They talk about the connection between him and Aldo Rain. So there's all these different things. And then you get into this, like the mythical side of it, of you start to create things, and that's where, is it good or bad? It doesn't matter. When you get into that range where people start talking about Band-Aids on necks,
Yes,
souls
exactly.
coming out of necks.
Are they the jewels from Reservoir Dogs, like we said earlier? Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's you're in a good spot if that's where you're there, and you're in like legendary status. So that's the world that Tarantino's created. Whatever movie he makes, 10, 11, doesn't matter. I'm loving it. So that's it.
It's like the cult hit that was also a popular, like super,
The cult hit that happened to be 10 movies.
So I'm shagging Travolta on
Snagging?
drugs. We're shagging, right?
We're snagging.
We're shagging.
Shagging?
I thought we were shagging because I just I shagged a
I shagged the
motherfucker.
shit out of the Tarantino unit.
Yeah.
My bad. Shag it up, Zach. I'm about to. Shag it up,
I'm
Zach.
dehydrated over here.
I'm shagging Travolta doing his best Hunter S. Thompson, pretending to be on heroin. I think it's so good and convincing, and you really like. He seems so disoriented, but still with it at the same time. It's fucking awesome. His tension with Mia and going back and having that talk with himself in the bathroom while she's outside OD.
so
and
good.
he's just like,
It's so relatable.
oh, he's going through it in there. He's like, am I gonna fuck this chick right now? Oh my god, am I gonna risk my life for this shit? Yeah, I love it. That was my shag.
The way he shuffles up to her door when he's fucking at the very start is
So-
just like, how's this guy going to make it through the night?
Exactly. So a quick story. They said that he told Tarantino, he's like, I'm worried. I don't know what it feels like to be on heroin. And he's like, it feels like you got wasted on tequila and then laid in a warm pool. And so he says, okay. And then he goes to Kelly Preston all excited. And he's like, hey, to research for this movie, we got to get super wasted. And she's like, okay. And they just like get naked and super wasted, and they have like tequila bottles lining the pool. That's what the story is. And then the hotel sets up the pool with like a heated pool.
I stopped listening when you said Kelly Preston got naked.
Dude. It was, John Travolta.
Acting research must be one of the funnest things ever.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm researching for this part, okay?
Literally, the quote was he like excitedly told his wife, like, hey, we get to get messed
He
up
was
on
married
tequila.
to Kelly Preston.
Allegedly.
He was excited about it.
Allegedly.
Oh,
So
According to the
I
internet.
just heard that your shag was Kelly Preston. Is that right? Okay, let's move on.
Got it.
All right, let's move on to Snag. What are we taking home to Mom?
Taking home to Mom. Okay, so this is circling back to Nate talking about the whole non-linear storytelling, whatever. It's also referred to as disrupted or disjointed narratives, right? So the unsequenced storytelling style of Quentin Tarantino. We were talking about the dialogue. I'm shagging that. I'm snagging that. His use of that. He, by all means, invented it. Everybody tried to mimic it. Nobody can do Tarantino's style. Partly, I feel like, in our opinion, because of dialogue. Like, I feel like it comes down to dialogue between characters. Nobody can mimic what he creates and what he writes between two characters in any given moment in his movies. So what I researched, and we don't get film schooly here, but what I did read was
Just want to go full
nonlinear
Sunfall.
storytelling
Just do
can help to hold the audience's attention, right, longer than a traditional design of a movie. Whereas when it's disjointed, a viewer is kind of forced to, they're challenged to say, this is weird to me. So they don't know what to focus on in any given scene because it's disjointed. It's kind of fractured. It's not in the traditional order of things. They don't know what's important or unimportant in a given scene. So they're forced to focus on any given thing, including dialogue and everything that's kind of said. So you're wondering if everything that's being said is important or unimportant. You're not sure. However, at the end of it all, his dialogue is special. Like, I don't even care. So what makes him as a director special is not only does he use the disruptor, disjointed narratives as his first movie, but his dialogue also happens to be superior and special. And we've seen it in movie after movie after movie after movie. He locks us in with his dialogue. So, yeah, the nonlinear storytelling looks like it might help the dialogue between characters, or like fuel it, or fuel the audience's attention to it, or lock the attentions.
I mean, I wonder how the experience would be. So, like, I've seen versions of the Godfather series, the 1 and 2, where they've reordered it so that you actually watch it in chronological order. Because Godfather 2 is sort of out of order.
Right. Well, it's a prequel too. It's the story before. It's a Don.
Right. And so,
Don Corleone.
Has anyone put together a version of Pulp Fiction that goes in the correct order? I wonder if that.
I think there's something out
somebody
there.
had an
the right
infographic
way to watch,
and I looked at it, and it was it was the worst infographic ever, because there was so much shit on there that I was just like, I can't even look at this.
But I wonder if it would like really kind of fuck it up. Like, I wonder if you didn't change any of the dialogue, it would change the way you saw the dialogue. Maybe not.
So that's the thing, is like, yeah, I read it. It's a definition, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I don't think it matters. I think he did it because it was different. It was based probably on his love of pulp, of comics and literature. And he thought of an original way to kind of piece it together. And at the end of the day, he doesn't have to piece all of his movies in that order for his dialogue to be unique and just grab audiences in any movie that he makes. But still, the nonlinear storytelling is original, and it kind of blew everyone's minds when they first saw it, even if I can't remember when the very first time that I saw it. But I know that it did blow my mind whenever that was.
Yeah, my snag here is Travolta, and I tried to hush Nate down earlier just because I was like, dude, don't jump on my Travolta bandwagon, because Travolta in this movie, as Nate had said, like, I mean, he was really 80s. He's in some stuff, and he was doing all right, and then like just late 80s, he's not doing much, and then
he was in Look Who's Talking. I mean, can we
at
least acknowledge that one of Zach's favorite films was a Travolta vehicle?
A Travolta picture.
And he's kind of lame in that. Like, I mean, he's just like, it's not great. And then you get to Pulp Fiction, and all of a sudden, if you look at the character, and we always say snag. Okay, I'm saying it's taken home. Like, what would you take home to mom? My mom loved the shit out of Grease. So I watched Grease a bunch growing up. And so for John Travolta to go from Grease and kind of he's cool guy in Grease, and then all of a sudden, like, he's doing kind of just lame roles, and then you get Vincent Vega, a heroin addict, gangster, hitman he's just ready to kill people, and it's such a great role, and he actually, I mean, so he takes this role and he moves into another one of my all-time favorite classics, is Face Off. He goes into Face Off, where he just gets to ham it up, acting like Nick Cage. And I mean, you get some of these roles that he gets all sorts of action movie roles after this. And so in the 90s, he had a run that it wasn't great, but I mean, it was solid movie.
It was pretty great.
Was Face Off in the universe, right? That was Vincent Vega's cousin, Face Off, I believe.
No.
Time I checked.
Nick Cage is supposed to be his cousin.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
All right.
Come on,
it's
y'all.
a universe.
He does look more like Tarantino.
But yeah, no. So I mean, Travolta, he kills in this role. He gets to dance a little bit, which is of course a callback to his earlier career. I mean, his earlier movie roles. And God, as a druggie, when he's a meme. You look at that meme where he kind of walks into Mia Wallace's house and he trying to figure out where shit is. I mean, everybody uses that meme nowadays. He's basically like having conversations with himself and stuff. It's a classic. So, John Travolta, you're my snag, and my mom would be happy to see you.
My snag is going to be really quick. My beautiful wife went to UC Santa Cruz, and she covets the old school Banana Slugs T-shirt that he gets loaned by the Quentin Tarantino character, and I want that shirt. That's what I'm snagging.
The Santa Cruz Banana Slugs.
Yep, UC Santa Cruz. What did I say?
You just said Banana Slugs.
Oh, okay.
So I gotta snag something that maybe is on the nose, but I'm gonna snag Travolta and Jules, not just the dialogue generally, but for me the conversations between the two of them are transcendent, right? I mean, as Brad and I demonstrated, we literally sort of memorialized the bacon bit in our botched yearbook quote. But the foot massage, Royale with cheese. I mean, those two together, and this is, I think going to come up later, is I suspect when we in part 2 try to draft and decide between these characters as sort of where they go in what order. These two are such a great pair that I would argue that there's no better single source of dialogue in any Tarantino film than the Travolta Samuel L. Jackson combo here. So that's my snag.
Body bag.
I love it.
Body bag. Now we're going to get into something that, I mean, I think it was topical then, and it's, I think, even more topical now, which is the choice in Pulp Fiction. I mean, when you watch it nowadays, there's something that stands out quite a bit, and it's the fact that you have white dudes' obsession with the N-word. And I don't, this is something we could have talked about with Tarantino, with Drinking with the Director, but the fact that he has a very extended dialogue where he is dropping N-bombs like it's just nothing in his kitchen, and it's a very aggressive scene. And just on a side note, our boy Bill Paxton was actually one of the people up for the part of Jimmy, but he couldn't because of some scheduling stuff. He couldn't be there, and I'm wondering, like, since Tarantino since he played the part of Jimmy, did he just decide, I'm just going to go full N-word, no problems? And if there would have been other actors in that role, would it have been this? Would they have actually been asked to use the same language? Which is just, I don't know.
So I think the best criticism of the scene, on this front is actually that the funny part of the, like, the dead, storage bit is not the offensive language. Right. So, like, I think if you would substitute that with some other clever word, right, it's still really funny.
Exactly. And it's a clever bit, but the fact that you do have.
That's what I'm saying. So
like dead motherfucker storage. Like,
yeah,
if you were to say something along those lines.
If this film could use anything, it's more motherfuckers.
Yeah. I mean, they got up to 250 plus or whatever. We could have added a few more.
For one, I want more.
Dead motherfucker storage would have worked, but Tarantino, I mean, that's the thing. He's always liked to kind of push those buttons, and I guess he assumes that gangster type dudes in LA might have been using it.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought about this when like the argument often for including a language that feels offensive, even in more modern situations, is that it makes it authentic. That's the way it would be in the real world. And then there's sort of obviously pushback on that as to whether or not that justifies the sort of perpetuation of it. But again, like, I just you look at it here and you go, like I don't. But at the time, there just wasn't the sensitivity to it, not to excuse it, but like they probably didn't debate it like we're debating now.
I feel even when it came out back in '94, I mean, as much of kind of a Tarantino, I was like, internet's just starting off, and any like articles I could look up about it, I was looking it up, and it seemed like it was an issue then. Obviously, more of an issue now.
It would be much more of an issue now, though.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so there's a scene where it shows the women in the drug dealer's apartment or in the drug dealer's house, and then he says, "What do you think of the girl out there?" And he's like, "Who, the chick with all the shit in her face?" He's like, "That's my wife." And it just reminds me of this story where we had a friend that went on a destination wedding, and he was a bunch of guys and their wives, and he didn't know any of the wives and a lot of the guys that were in the wedding because it was just a buddy of his, and they go to the club on the destination wedding, and the guy's out there dancing, and one of these girls obviously like is all over him, dancing on him, freaking on him, blah blah blah. He gets uncomfortable. He like gets out of the dance floor, goes and sits down. Guy next to him's like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, "Good, man. This girl is all over me on the dance floor." And the guy goes, "That's my wife." And it just reminds me so much of that moment.
So who's getting body bagged?
That's my body bag. Just that moment where you like say something to somebody and they're like, "That's my wife." Or
Love it so much. Love it
Terrible.
so much.
Take. It's a good take. I'm body bagging. It's a long name, so it's Maria de Medeiros Esteves Victorino. That's Bruce Willis's girlfriend. She's a rough watch. for her portion of the movie. It's a very strange selection. It's strange how, if Tarantino told her to play it this way, her
dialogue
baby-esque,
is weirder,
like young girl, young child, how she delivers her dialogue. It's weird. It's off-putting. I feel like there was a lot of other. You look at the list of people that went for the Mia Wallace part, and you think that maybe one of those could have crept into that short bit as Bruce Willis's girlfriend and done a shit ton better job. Could have still been strange, but not so childlike and weird. And so that part I can't get over. I've heard she's been. I think it's been criticized before. I feel like I've heard on whether it's other pods or other articles about her part. And it's a short part. It doesn't ruin the movie at all. But she's it's rough through that. And Bruce Willis, as funny as it sounds, helps get us through those portions with her in the movie. So yeah, she's my body bag. I wish they would pick somebody different. I wish Quentin picked somebody different for her part.
It's interesting because I feel like her part bugged me more back in the day when I was watching it, and like just in this most recent watch, I was like, you know what, it doesn't bother me as much, and I couldn't figure out why it's not bothering me as much as maybe it used to, and it was just like, I don't know, she's got that innocence,
I know,
which I think is like kind of what she's trying to play, is that like she's with this boxer and they're going through some crazy shit, but she still's trying to like maintain like her little like innocence. But I don't know,
but she knows exactly what's going on. Like that's what's kind of cool. That is the only cool thing about it, is those little moments where she's like, we're in danger, aren't we? She snaps from that weird baby like use the way that she's like speaking in it to.
This is what Bruce Willis is into, though, bro.
As I say, the better question is, how did they meet?
Right, exactly. Like, what's going on?
He's like a badass boxer, and she's like goofy as hell. I don't know.
It's so odd. And there's a couple moments where she almost like brings it home, but there's too much of everything else that she does to overpower that. But I hear you. There's some moments where it looks like she's gonna ring it in, but then they just let her talk about her fucking blueberry fucking pancakes and 4 sausage links or whatever.
No, I had to get buttermilk.
And the way that she pronounces
I wish I had a pot.
It's blueberry pancakes.
I wrote
extra
down,
syrup.
wait a minute, was she talking about a pot belly? Isn't she just talking about being pregnant? And then it just made it weird.
She wasn't.
For
That's
sure
what made
she
it
was
weird.
talking about.
Yeah, she was.
All right.
That's what made it weird.
My
She wasn't.
You don't think
She
so?
would have said it. She
I know,
was
but
talking about having a pot belly.
She's like,
She was
everything
like,
else would be
I
the
was
same,
belly
but
is so
the
cute.
pot belly.
I
I'm
was
like,
waiting
that's
for that
what being
too.
pregnant is.
That's what she's saying. She's like, Bruce.
So real quick on that, there was some notes that say that basically she was maybe pregnant, and there's one part where she comes out of the right after Bruce Willis has a shower, and then goes and lays down on the bed, and she comes around to like say something to him that she was actually going to admit that she was pregnant, but that's internet rumor.
And then the soul came out of the back of her neck.
And then she sucked at his soul. Yeah.
All right, my body bag is ding, 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 the ASMR moment.
Wait, so you're saying you're body bagging this because it's not going to happen ever again?
No, my wife wishes that.
We're working our ASMR,
Tonight,
the body bag.
We're
is good stuff.
ASMRing the dill pickle spear. Ready?
Disjointed. This is a disjointed narrative.
So much anticipation.
I'm told that the peaches are the most popular of my ASMRs so far.
The wetter, the better, is what I've heard.
I'm told that that those are some ringtones for some people. Ready?
My God.
Man, that's dill.
If there was video to this,
Man, that's dill.
the only
Were you surprised that it was dill?
I'm still
I was so focused on
was it
trying to make
bread
the
and
right
butter? Were you
sounds that I was
expecting
just
bread
like,
and butter?
no, God, no.
I'm still confused. What's the body bag here?
There isn't one. I just didn't have one, so I did ASMR.
That's what I'm fucking talking about.
It's like the what's the Double Jeopardy or whatever.
I feel like
It's
your
like-
fans though want it to be like on its own. They don't want it to be a part of.
Okay, my body bag is
They want you to-
my body bag is this conversation right now.
Is there anybody dead in the movie that you could body bag?
My body
What
bag.
about Marvin, dude? I mean, fuck.
Oh,
I like the movie. I don't want to
Speaking of Marvin, let's go ahead and move on to our cameo segment. You know, we've got cameo pricing. We like to figure out which of the actors in these films that we watch are in cameo.
Are you not taking up my suggestion to make it instead dead or cameo, where we just guess if the actor is dead or on cameo? Fine.
Well, I will
fine,
say when I'm
fine.
going through the list, there are people that I skip because I'm like, yeah, that person's
Brad,
dead.
if you would have been like, if last week you would have been like dead or on cameo, Scott Farkas from A Christmas Story, I bet you would have been split 50-50.
That's probably true. All right, so I've only got 3 folks. Actually, okay, so 4. Kathy Griffin, who has a very, very bit part, actually labeled as herself. She's the first one to go up to talk to Marcellus Wallace. Like, I'll be your witness. That guy ran into you. Yeah. So she used to be on Cameo. No price for her, so we don't know. But there are 3 others. 2 of them comedians.
It's Marvin.
Marvin is one, as I said. Speaking of,
Ooh, how much we got to pay for Marvin?
for Phil Lamar, who started off Mad TV, was kind of like where he got his start. Marvin, it doesn't say a whole lot. He cries in the corner for most of the movie. And then he gets his face shot off.
$200.
No,
No, I'm kidding. 80.
I'm going to say 65.
I was going to say 62.
Well, it's fine.
Marvin will talk to you for $100. He'll come back from the dead.
Thank
Pricey.
you. I'll take.
Pricey.
Nice, Nick.
Thank you.
All right. Somebody else in that scene is also in
The
Brett.
Cameo.
Brett.
the poor man's Ferris Bueller.
It's Brett.
Is that what you call him?
There he is. There he
that.
is. That's a good call.
Look at the
God
big
damn.
brain on Brett. That is Brett is on Cameo. How much are you paying for Brett?
I would pay.
It's Field of Dreams, by the way. Just don't.
Oh,
He is Field of Dreams.
Does he choke on a hot dog?
No, he's the one that saves her life. He doesn't choke.
He's the young doc.
Young Doc.
That's his daughter. That
I'll bet he's $75.
$75. Going once. Going twice.
What did Nick say? 70?
70.
$76.
I'm glad we're on the
Look at that.
price.
There's that price of right. Zach is a winner once again. He is $100 as well.
Everybody's
Once
this is a pricey cameo considering who we're talking about here.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised.
Inflation, bro.
I mean, what would you have Brett say? I mean, what? he's just what? That's what my $100.
He's black? What does he say?
He's black. And then the final one is a comedian, and she's on the screen for like maybe a minute. Comedian. Saturday Night Live.
And it's a she?
Oh, what's her name? It's Pat.
It's Pat.
Miss Pat?
Julia Sweeney.
Yeah.
Who plays Raquel, who is the daughter of Monster Joe.
I say
Because you are a character doesn't mean you have character.
I say she's dead.
No, alive, living.
Oh, okay. We got to guess.
Yeah,
we got to.
There's no ghosts on Cameo, except Cameo. I'm giving them props. Right, this is why they should advertise with us because they actually have their first ever non-human on Cameo.
Who's that? Watson?
Avatar? One of the avatars?
They got the avatars?
They got
those avatars?
I know you guys can't wait till that movie comes out.
Oh, they got those avatars.
No, they have Boss Baby. You can actually
my
Cameo and have Boss Baby
Also,
talk to you.
Alec Baldwin.
What
Thanks.
does the world come to?
We know it's you, Alec Baldwin.
Oh, I guarantee.
fool
I
us.
This sounds
guarantee
just like Alec Baldwin.
I guarantee
Fool us,
Alec
you
Baldwin is
dick.
not giving the voice. I'm sure it's some impersonator doing Boss Baby's voice.
There's no way it's Alec Baldwin.
Right.
How much? So
Yeah,
how much?
he would
how
never
much
do
does
that.
It's
He would
Pat
never make a movie.
Boss
where he
Baby
does
It's
baby.
Pat.
also-
It's Pat. Julia Sweeney. I mean, she's known for much other stuff besides playing Raquel in Pulp Fiction. $75.
This is the most expensive cameo.
Yeah.
We're right in that pocket.
I feel like that's, and this is what I was going to say is that I think Pulp Fiction just kind of like you lend your name to Pulp Fiction, like, oh, I was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You can jack that cameo up. You can be like, yeah.
This is what's
charge a little
happening is
extra.
that Cameo's really gaining some traction since they started advertising with our pod.
Yeah.
So by
And,
us talking about Pulp Fiction,
yeah.
we get
I wouldn't be
Cameo. Is
surprised
this
if
one
Marvin's
cameo?
150 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Checks
get it
out.
while you can, folks. Get in with Lamar, Phil Lamar, $100 before he raises that price after being on BVK
Shit's
podcast.
going up. Get that bump.
All right. So streaming recommendations. Who's got something that they feel that, you watch Pulp Fiction? We mentioned earlier some of the shit that was put out, but what do you think is a movie? If you watch Pulp Fiction, what do you need to move on to? I'm thinking...
Called his own number. He's all looking around the table.
Everybody pointed at me because Nate's blocking the board, and I'm like,
he's like, you motherfuckers don't have it.
Our whiteboard of direction is
Who shall it be?
is hiding. So let me tell you, my stream recommendation, and you know what? Smart guy here is going to say, you know what? We did a podcast about the movie Go. You should probably go watch the movie Go and then listen to our podcast if you have not, because it's a good one.
Go watch Go.
Go, all that shit. So if you want to watch Go, it's
Go.
it is streaming on Pluto TV. Whatever the fuck.
I know you
Pluto
all got
TV
that.
is.
So
Everybody that's
select the
And
Pluto app.
not only is it on Pluto TV, it's on Pluto TV with ads.
Can
With ads.
can you just start making up
All
streaming
those articles?
services, please,
Yeah.
and do us a favor? Just make them up.
It's on Googly Woogly.
I'm going to talk to Stars and say,
.net.
you know what, you need to get Go back or something because nobody's got Pluto TV and nobody wants to watch with ads either.
Last week, Brad was like, it's not streaming. I'll loan you my DVD. And this week, he's like, it's on Pluto TV.
Hey, you get it free, but you got to watch some ads.
Pluto's not even a fucking planet anymore.
I know.
All right, Nick,
Maybe it's the Disney Pluto.
what are you streaming?
Got gangsters. Goodfellas, 1990. Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Pesci, Lorraine Bracco, Paul Sorvino. Gangster classic.
So let me
Watch
pitch
it
you. Let me
if
pitch you
haven't
this,
seen
Nick.
it.
Let me pitch you
Not in a disrupted narrative.
That's what I was going to say. Let me pitch you this. How about they do the Pulp Fiction timeline to Goodfellas?
Fuck, dude.
And you just start with Joe Pesci getting killed.
Spoiler alert.
You're an old
Spoiler
You're an
alert.
old young Quentin Tarantino. I'll give you that. You're an old young Quentin Tarantino.
Say we do an alternate ending.
That's what I got. Oh, streaming not on Pluto. Amazon. You're welcome.
What's Amazon?
Pluto.
All right, now we're on to
I have Pluto Prime, so I don't know what Amazon is.
our final category of the evening is Reshelf It, where we're going to take a existing movie and we're either going to walk in the video store and take it from the drama category, put it on the sci-fi, or you're just going to make an alternate ending. We need maybe alternate endings to this movie. Tarantino would probably hate you for messing with his script, but we're going to do it here just because Tarantino's not sitting next to us, so he left.
He already went home.
Zach, what you got?
All right, I'll go after Zach.
I've got so many ways that you can make alternate endings to this. I don't know if I would reshelf it, but I'm thinking if Mia doesn't find the heroin in the pocket of the coat, does Vincent get seduced?
Oh, I say yes.
100%, right?
That's a good
There's
call.
no chance he gets out of that house.
I don't think so. The way he's talking to himself in
He
the
can
mirror,
talk
like
to
it's the
himself
most
as much
important conversation he's ever had in his life. It's just like, all right.
Although I will note that he does come out and start to say he's going to leave, which I was impressed by because when he was in the bathroom, and I was like, "Oh, that fucker!
Yeah,
he's going to be he's going to be balls deep in about 5 minutes."
Yeah, he can say whatever he wants, but if she's not
Yeah.
hitting that heroin,
Yeah.
she's...
Yeah, he comes back out. She wants to dance in the living room or something.
Oh, it's game
gonna be
over,
it's gonna
yeah.
be over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my alternate
sorry,
take.
lot happens
Your
from
alternate ending is that just simply John Travolta gets laid.
Just that one moment, and then it makes me think what are the repercussions throughout the movie? Everything else happens the way that it happens, but that
yeah.
doesn't happen to them too. But then maybe Marcellus Wallace isn't walking across the street while Butch is driving his car right there. He's over there killing Vincent for fucking his wife. You know what I mean?
yeah, like a butterfly flaps its dick into Mia Wallace, and all of a sudden,
Butterfly flaps his dick, and it's just
Is this a new? Is that a
Everything
sex
falls
move?
apart.
Butterfly slap?
that's the butterfly effect.
You butterfly
right?
slap my dick?
It's the butterfly effect? I understand that wrong?
that's the butterfly effect. That's
That's what the
movie's
Ashton
about.
Kutcher effect is.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
okay.
What do you got, Nick?
I really enjoyed that movie, by the way. Butterfly effect is fucking great. There's 4 alternate endings. One of them, he's a baby and strangles himself. I mean, that's in his mom's womb with his umbilical cord.
Spoiler alert, man.
I'm just saying, he strangles himself
just
with
tell
his
him everything
own.
Zach, right now.
He strangles himself with his own umbilical
There we
cord
go.
in the
What,
womb.
what is the Titanic sink too? I mean, would you just shut the fuck up?
This is the 4th alternate ending. You have to own the DVD.
Oh, we just got to get that.
And
John
no,
Mayer.
I do not own this fucking DVD.
I do.
In that conversation was when she tells him that the guy didn't actually give her a foot massage. Is she trying to entice him to do something, or is she just like basically like saying like, "Oh no, that's not what that was about," and so he's not. I mean, that he got killed for some other reason.
Exactly.
So you think she was telling him that like it's safe, you can get involved.
Oh, I didn't think about that, but
She's
that's
looking for affection from men. For sure. She's trying to seduce him the whole time.
I mean, again, back to the straw, right? Like just swap.
I think they have a connection.
I do too.
I think just their characters
she
and their
likes him.
personalities, not just
I
like a foot
totally
massage,
agree.
like surface thing. I think that actually there was like a deeper thing there for sure.
It's true. Foot
Which is
massage
why I
bars.
think when he's standing in that bathroom and he's like,
He felt it. He felt it.
crisis.
I love that he does like the hand motion.
make sure he
Go
knows.
home, you jerk
He
off.
knows what's going to happen. If anyone didn't know,
All right, Nick, what do you got for
All right,
us?
I got a play on Quentin's like alternate history take. So this is obviously looking at it now from not obviously in 1994, but now seeing his take on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and his take on a biopic of something that actually happened, like the Sharon Tate story, and showing her kind of peripheral story in addition to Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio's, actually made Pulp Fiction being a biopic of Quentin's life. So him at the video store. So actually, Christopher Walken, his part talking to a young Bruce Willis, it's actually Christopher Walken talking to a young Quentin Tarantino about his watch, telling the story. So it's Quentin Tarantino inserting himself into that story with Christopher Walken's character getting told the story about the watch, just as a side, like funny story. So Quentin Tarantino is being told that story instead of Zed's pawn shop. It's not even probably Zed's pawn shop, but it's that pawn shop. It's the video store that Bruce Willis goes into, and it's Quentin Tarantino running the desk at the video shop. And it's basically just following Quentin Tarantino's life, and it's basically Quentin Tarantino's kind of biopics inserted into the Pulp Fiction story. That was my idea. As instead of Pulp Fiction, it's Pulp Fiction with the biopic,
with him as the main character.
with him as like even as just a peripheral kind of like character. It's like him inserting. It's the Sharon Tate. That's why I say it's connected to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So Sharon Tate, she's spaced throughout it because you know how her story ends. We know how Quentin Tarantino's story ends, so his story is placed throughout this movie. And at the end, they find some way to let you know that, oh, this is Quentin Tarantino. He's kind of creating this, like, some history and building like a film repertoire of making movies. So it's more gauged around, film, less on violence and more on this young kid becoming like a filmmaker around the violence going on around him. So it's ending. Maybe it ends with Quentin Tarantino, walking down the street as Jules and Vincent Vega are doing something. So it connects with Quentin in some way. So with a biopic, an interesting biopic take.
I like it.
Seems like too much Tarantino for me.
It's a little disjoint.
As far as, and I don't mean like Tarantino material. I mean just Tarantino himself being on screen.
a lot of Tarantino. Yeah,
a lot of Tarantino.
Tarantino
All right.
played by Alec Baldwin.
I'm glad he already went home. I would have said that to his face. So we're here. We're at the end. And what we've got coming up, of course, is our draft popping on Thursday. We're going to be drafting the most memorable Quentin Tarantino characters from his 10 major releases in theaters that he wrote and directed. So check all those out.
Who's our judge this week?
We've got Scotchback coming in the house.
Yes, sir.
He's a
The
Tarantino fan, and
the man,
he's
the
going
legend.
to break it down in ways that we can't even imagine right now.
I imagine it every time I go to bed, and I think about Scotch's list.
Right after you watch the Ballad of
Scotchler's
Buster,
List.
right after you watch the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh boy, yeah. So if you want to, you should jump onto the social media. If you follow us on Facebook, why not sign up for the Instagram as well and like us on Twitter and go ahead and follow us on Facebook. So just go ahead and jump in all of those And
Tell your friends about us.
Tell your
Click
friends
the
about
like
us.
on iTunes.
Send
on
us
the
hate
iTunes
mail.
podcast.
You know what would actually be great is just reviews. I mean, throw a couple of good
reviews
reviews
on
up there
iTunes.
on iTunes, on the Apple Podcasts, or wherever you want to leave a review for us. We would really appreciate it.
There's a word on the street that there's some positive reviews around about my Barry White voice. I'm not saying that I can't substantiate those things. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing.
I'm totally going to fuck with your vocals on this next edit.
Anyway, guys, it's Alvin and the Chipmunk.
Nice to see you. Just check it out now.
All right, folks. So that's been it. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you for following. Again, check out the draft on Thursday.
See you on part 2.
We'll see you later. Take care, folks.
Peace.
See ya.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies, just to find by no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Nate, I can brag your favorite podcast. Let's start